our time in Costa Rica, we had the opportunity to work with the 2 staff members from Push the Rock, Costa Rica, being part of their ongoing ministry and doing a few other things as well. So we worked in a few of the schools, 3 schools that they're in, that they're doing ministry in, and we also worked in 2 prisons. We had the opportunity to run basketball clinics, teach them skills, but also share our testimonies as well and pray with them. And then we also had the opportunity to play 4 games against adult competition. Competition was pretty good, but we had a great time playing with them, but we also had the opportunity to share our testimonies and fellowship with them after the game.
Ready yourselves, let us shine the light of Jesus in the darkest night. Whoa, ready yourselves, may the powers of darkness tremble as our praises rise, until the whole world hears, Lord, we are calling out, lifting up your name for all to hear the sound, like voices in the wilderness we're crying out, and as the day draws near, we'll sing until the whole world hears. Lord, let your sleeping giant rise, catch the demons by surprise. Holy nation sanctified, let this be our battle cry. Ready yourselves, let us shine the light of Jesus in the darkest night. Whoa, ready yourselves.
My highlight was the opportunity to share my testimony after a couple of the games that we had with the adult men. It was neat to share how God worked in my life and see that these guys were interested in hearing that, and then coming up afterwards and saying, thank you for sharing.
One of the highlights of my trip to Costa Rica was getting the opportunity to talk to Santiago, a prisoner in the first prison we visited. He was injured, so I had a chance to talk to him for about 20 minutes, and it was great to talk to him and just hear his perspective.
One thing I'll never forget is when we went into the prison, we had to show our passports. And so we all lined up. Kevin went in after me, so I go in, and after I go through, I hear the sound of a water bottle, and I look back, and Kevin had put his water bottle under his arm to show his passport, and when he showed the guard, he sprayed the guard right in the chest, and it wasn't just a little bit. The guard was soaked all the way down, and I didn't think Kevin was going to leave the prison.
My highlight happened before we even got to Costa Rica. It happened in the air. The one flight attendant who reminded us of Eddie Murphy happened to take a liking to us like immediately. Before we even left the ground, he was joking around with our crew. And so I went back to check the plumbing on the plane. There was a little bit of a line. And so I ended up talking with Eddie Murphy. And he was just asking what Push the Rock was and stuff. We were wearing these nice polos, and he's like, so what is Push the Rock? And so I got to tell him about that, and he was like, oh, so I told him top basketball camps. And then he said, oh, so, and you share the gospel too? I was like, yes. And he's like, oh, well, can I hear your testimony? So I shared my testimony with him, and then he shared his zucchini bread with me.
My highlight of the trip would have to be in the middle of the week, I arm wrestled Scott Shuey, and our driver was astonished at how easily Scott went down. And so everyone was like, oh, you should arm wrestle David, who was one of our hosts there. And he was about twice my size, and David starts laughing. We're all like, what, are you going to arm wrestle him? And he goes, no, I'll destroy him.
God taught me to love people more and value their eternity, and to be bold in speaking my faith.
God taught me just how big his plan is, just seeing people in completely different culture and language worshiping him was really special and inspiring.
God taught me to trust him in all things. When I first agreed to go to Costa Rica, I did not know we were going to be going to prisons. And when John told us, he just kind of told us nonchalantly, like it was no big deal. And I was like, John, this is a big deal. We're going to Costa Rican prison. And I was a little worried, and it turns out it was fine. They were very respectful, and they listened, and they wanted to play basketball with us and learn everything. And it was a great time, and I'm very glad that I went and was trusted in God. And luckily I got out of prison alive.
What God taught me the most was that you got to go in without preconceived notions, have an open mind and an open heart. Listen to others, don't close them out. Like when we were in the prison, as Dave mentioned, this guy named Santiago, I would have never guessed that he had taken someone else's life and was in there for max sentence, with how passionate and how loving he was. You just got to be open to others.